We're up to another part of our conversation with Joe Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult. Okay, in high school, were you that music guy?
Yes.
And in high school, you ever play in your high school?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We went back to my high school. They awarded Albert and me it was the Thousand Islands Music Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yeah. So we did a performance at the thing. It was packed. It was fantastic.
Okay, I know
yes,
you meant
I was that music guy.
Beatles or Stones or both?
I'd say Beatles, but I love the Stones. I love all. Hey, I got to meet Mick.
Oh, what was that like, by the way? What was that like?
Well, I was down in the Caribbean, in this private island, and he invited us to his New Year's Eve party on the beach, and it was fantastic. He actually asked me questions about a show that he saw. This was 2008. He was talking about a show that he went to see, Blue Oyster Cult, in 1975 in Paris, France. He says, there was a place, the abattoir, the slaughterhouse was this place in Paris, and the Stones played there after we played there. There was so, generally he was just nice and gracious, and I was playing a party at a friend's house on the beach. The parties only last about 20 minutes in these places. I can't tell you everything, but the parties would be at one guy's house, and then everybody goes to the next guy's house, and they have another 20-minute party, and then they finally end up at Mick's house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of music, what are you best at?
I've been learning to play golf.
Is it challenging?
Yeah. Well, I want to play with Alice Cooper. He was in Connecticut a couple of years ago, and I was, I'll go play with you. And he gets up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He's on the links at 7. And so I was saying I got to be as good enough so that I don't embarrass myself. I did do a charity event with some rock guys. What's his name from Grand Funk?
Mark Farner?
Mark Farner. And I definitely can play golf better than Mark Farner. I saw him chasing balls in the woods.
Yeah, he's another great interview. I've talked to him twice.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. 3 songs you wished you would have written. Or one.
Oh, God only knows. God only knows what I would write.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and Good Vibrations.
Yeah.
There's a couple right there. Don't Worry, Baby. I'd take those 3.
There's a theme right there. Hey, Brian Wilson. Have you ever met Brian? He would be an interesting guy to talk to. I'm not sure how... I don't mean disrespect because he's Brian Wilson, how present he is. I hope he's present, but...
I've tried to meet him, but you know how difficult it is.
He's very protected. Yeah.
So, but I did have a situation where we sort of bumped into each other. And I went to this club in New York, and he was doing his Gershwin's show. Do you remember he did an album, Brian Wilson Reimagines Gershwin? Probably not. Missed it. Fantastic album. And his band did a whole set of George Gershwin songs. He had the Gershwin family gave him the rights to 2 unfinished songs, and he finished them on that album. But the whole thing was good, and it's very Beach Boys like versions of. But so in the show, he'd be doing songs like Summertime, There was, his voice, just like summertime, and the whole audience just gasped. It was so amazing. So after the show, I'm heading out on the street, and there's this bus in front of the theater. And I'm saying, well, I'll just take a peek in there. It's probably the bus driver sitting there. And I knocked on the window, and it's Brian. He's sitting in the front seat. And I said, great show. And he waved, and he smiled. And I said, I can die happy now.
Well, you did kind of meet him.
Yes. Yeah, he waved and he smiled. I think he was really happy with that show because it was, I thought it was artistic triumph. I've seen, 100 Brian Wilson shows, from the Beach Boys and, all his solo shows, Pet Sound show, Smile show, the reunion show. And that was enough. A big smile. He was on the phone, he waved and acknowledged. It was a great show.
Okay, I come up to you and I say, listen, I'm serious. If a student comes up to you and say, I'm really serious on looking back and finding out the great albums. What are the top 3, this kid's asking you, what are the top 3 albums I should start with?
You're talking about Blue Oyster Cult?
Blue Oyster Cult or anybody. Do both. Can you do both? We got 8 minutes, so I don't have a lot of time.
Albums.
Blue Oyster Cult. What about Blue Oyster Cult? What do you think the 3 albums? If you want to introduce someone to this great band you were part of, what would you?
Agents of Fortune. Fire of Unknown Origin, with Burning for You on it, and the first album. That would my personal favorite is the first album, but I think the songs with the hits on them are easy to for anybody to understand. First album's very confusing.
A lot going on, but it's got Cities on Flame, it's got Last Days of May, Stairway to the Stars. Yeah, you've got at least I think 2 songs in your top 10 on Spotify from the first album. There you go.
Yeah.
That says something. What's been the low point of your career and what's been the highest point of your career?
Oh, well, after I left Blue Oyster Cult, I spent 2 years trying to be a record producer. I did not know what I was doing. I mean, I had worked with some of the great producers. I worked with Martin Birch and Bruce Fairburn and Tom Werman and Sandy Pearlman, Murray Krugman. And I thought, if I can do what they do, And I figured musically, I probably have the chops, I know when something's in tune and in time. But the business side of it, I was not prepared for that, And also I was not prepared for how long it would take. It takes a good 10 years to break in as a producer, unless you get really lucky, So after 2 years, I just said, no, I'm done with this, And I learned a lot. That's the problem with being a rock star. You don't learn that much. And I had to get out of Blue Oyster Cult to find out what else is in the world. I had no idea how normal people paid bills or, how they dealt with families and, life, So, but now I'm pretty happy, and I'm happy you like this album.
I like one last thing. What's the craziest thing a fan has ever done to you and or the band? You know what Ian Anderson told me? That someone threw a used tampon at him. There you go.
God.
Can't beat that.
I don't know. Fans have always been really nice to me, No, I can't find anything.
Hope you enjoyed our conversation with Joe Bouchard. It's the second time we've ever talked to him, and he's always a pleasure to talk to. Links to the new album in the description of this video. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. And the 2 P's of how you can help us out. Patreon. You can join our Patreon and get access to our videos sometimes over a month and a half early, or you can make a donation on PayPal. All the links are in the description. More from Joe Bouchard coming up in the next 2-3 days. This is Rock History Music.